All right, all right, all right.
All right. Good.
Welcome, Coach Sheila. How are you
Good.
doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Fantastic, fantastic.
Good.
So I want to introduce you first, and then, or introduce you to some and present you to others, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. It's an honor and a pleasure to have you grace my podcast today. I've been following you, and you do some phenomenal things with health and fitness, and with the nurses, and with boxing, and just everything about being good, good to yourself. And I appreciate that. And so I want to encourage other people to follow you as well. And we'll post your Instagram links a little bit later. But so Sheila Cunningham is a registered nurse with over 30 years experience in the field. Her passion for health and wellness led her to obtain several certifications ranging from cannabis consultant, boxing and barbells to certified transformational nutrition coach. She has recently published her 21-day guided journal, Get Perfectly Balanced, and that's what we're going to be talking about. Get Perfectly Balanced Wellness Journal to inspire others to look at health in a holistic view. Sheila has dedicated her life to empower and inspire you to live your very, very absolute best life, uh, mind, body, and spirit. So we want to just again welcome you to the Mo Mindful Show. Um, I've been doing this for a little while now, and um, had the pleasure of having some phenomenal guests,
Yes.
and you are no different from that. And
Thank you.
so, I'm excited about what we're going to talk about today. I'm sure you're going to bring a lot of value, and we bank off each other well, so we're gonna
Yes.
flow with it. We're gonna flow with it. So,
Yes.
everybody, welcome Miss Sheila Cunningham.
I
All
like
right.
it.
So let's start with you giving me a little bit more about yourself. So that was your professional bio, but just like kind of fill us in. Who is Sheila C?
Sheila C. Well, very, very, very aware of our community. I'm community based instructor, educator, and everything that I do is to help inspire our community to live a healthy, balanced life. And I have
Excellent.
been doing that for quite some time. And right now, my goal is to continue to network and meet with people to, like yourself and Lex, who was on last week, just collaborate with people to get my word and my vision out just to help everyone be healthier, mind, body, and spirit.
Right.
And the journal was a way of showing people that we really need to be mindful of our mental, our spiritual, and our physical, but also intellectual.
Right.
Uh, Environmental. So all the other pillars of wellness, people sometimes um, don't really recognize, and they
Right.
feel off balance, and they feel like I don't know what's going on, but I'm just like something's not right.
Hmm.
And then it just helps them look at those things and say, well, maybe I need to do more in the environment, maybe I need to do more with giving back, because we always think, maybe sometimes we think about taking care of ourselves or taking care of others, but we have to give back to the community and
Right.
do things that empower us because of the giving and the
Hmm.
connection. So I'm just a person that feels blessed to be able to go out in the community and express that to people and make them aware of it and
Hmm.
inspire them in any way that I can. As they look at me as a registered nurse, and they respect that, especially in these times, and they respect that, but also as a nutritionist, also as a physical fitness coach. All those things I put together to help people understand that I want to be the example.
Hmm. And that you are. I was just about to say,
Mhm.
you are not one of those people just talking the talk. You are actually walking the walk. I mean, um, uh,
Thank
you're
you.
teaching people, how to box, how to exercise, how to eat. I see your videos in the kitchen. Just all those different things. I've seen you in bookstores, so I know you're a reader. So you definitely are dealing with the intellectual, and
Mhm.
so 100% real. This is not just talk, and I just love that about you.
Thank you
And
so.
the energy is what um, really brings it home for me, because
Wow.
wherever I see you, um, I don't know if you got a turn on and turn off button, and maybe outside of the public you turn it off or whatever. But
Oh my.
whenever I see you, that energy level is so high and
Mhm.
infectious in a good way, and
Right.
and people are able to garner off of your energy, and it doesn't matter what the situation is, what's going on, what activity it is. It's just that energy
Mhm.
is just all over the place. So how
Wow.
do you maintain that level of enthusiasm and passion whenever you're doing something?
Well, you know what? I thank you for that. And I do hear people say that, like, your energy is, contagious. I love it. And it inspires people. That's another thing that inspires people because they may feel like, even if they're watching me on Apps Are Made in the Kitchen, that's what I do on YouTube.
Hmm.
That has been very catchy for people. And when I come on, it's funny, I just feel like lighten up, and
Right.
it is something that is on camera and off camera because my friends and my family, they tell me all the time, they're like, oh my God, you just really inspire me. You just have so much energy. And I'm like, you know what? It's natural. It's really organic energy, and I'm
Hmm.
just excited about life. My mother is 94, and when I talk to
Praise
her,
God.
she's even more excited about life. And so I'm blessed to be here. I'm blessed to be an inspiration. I'm blessed to be, I've been a nurse for 30 years,
Mm.
30
That's
years. And the
incredible.
whole time I have been telling and expressing my passion about health and wellness, and people and kids, because I usually work with kids, and people and kids are like, Nurse Cunningham, I'm eating my apples, I'm eating my oranges, and they want to tell me that. It's not
Right.
like I'm like, hey, eat apples and oranges, which I am, but they just see me as that example. And I
Right.
have to continue to inspire people, even people, strangers. I walk up to strangers, and it's funny because I met a musician here in St. Louis, visiting my mom, and I met
Hmm.
a musician, and he said, are you a coach? And I'm like, because I was just kind of like, right off the bat, he was like, you know, I I'm a musician, but I really don't do anything else. And I'm like, you have something in you. You have
Right.
something in you. And he's like, are you a coach? I'm like, as a matter of fact, I am. But it was just natural for me to just
Right.
kind of like pull out the thing that he didn't see in him.
Hmm.
He was from another country, and he had a very good story or sad story about, people not making it out of the country, people living, lives that we may not even understand. And so
Right.
I'm like, that's a story. And then I began to talk to him about writing his book, and he's like, I can't write. And I started like, well, you got other people that can do it for you.
Right.
And he never thought about that. So hopefully those kind of things I will inspire him to to think about it and do it.
Right.
So that energy is just, I feel like I'm just so in love with life and in love with health and wellness and inspiring people. So I think that's where it comes from. Plus,
Okay.
my mother said I was very busy when I was a kid, so I don't know if that busy turned into energy, because that probably was
Right.
energy when I was 2. And
Hmm.
so now I'm just that same kind of person.
Well, energy is kinetic, and so
Mm.
if you keep on engaging in it, keep moving it, keep working the energy, then it gets grander. It continues. So yeah, a busy little girl
Yeah.
gave us you.
Right, right.
Yeah,
And
that
so if
energy.
kids that are out there and your mom and your teacher or someone is saying, you got too much energy, you got to settle down, teach them how to hone in on that energy, and then
Right.
use energy to uh, That's your personality. So use that energy
Mm,
to become a motivational speaker, become an inspiration,
right.
become, a coach,
Hmm.
Mhm.
I love that. I was about to talk about nursing, and we're going to get back into that. But
Mm.
so you just brought up a good point. Um, I was an educator for 18 years,
Wow.
elementary school all the way up to junior college. So I've taught everything from second grade to junior college.
What?
And one thing that I noticed, and even in my own grandchildren, there are certain characteristics that they have,
Hmm.
and people are very quick to label them in a
Yeah.
negative way. And so most people aren't looking for like the beneficial aspect of whatever that characteristic is.
Yes.
Like um, somebody may call them stubborn. You know, that's somebody who's determined. I mean, if you can get a kid to understand that they're determined, and that's a good thing, and to apply that in every aspect of their lives, when they want something, go for it. You
Yeah.
know, um, encourage that. Don't put them down by saying, you just so busy, or you um bouncing around, all these different things.
Yeah.
Don't put a negative on it. But um what I was talking about the other day is I was coaching this young lady, and it's almost like learning a foreign language. So we have to start to reteach adults and children, and if we can get the children, that's awesome because they can grow up with it and it
Yeah.
can benefit. But even the adults, the parents, the grandparents, the siblings, the aunts, uncles, all of them, get them to change their language. Teach them a brand new language, and that language is, positive characteristics, for lack of a better word. But
Oh no.
just
Yeah.
to teach them to pour into our children in a positive way. Find out what it is that you deem as something negative, and what's the real characteristic that that person is exemplifying.
Wow, you said
Hmm.
it. And being an educator, we see. I have been, like I said, a nurse for 30 years, but the majority of my years of nursing was in the elementary school. I was 17 years in St. Louis Public School, and
Okay.
then I came to West Palm Beach, Florida in 2017 and did 3 more years in West Palm Beach, Florida. And it was really, I was being very intentional to
Hmm.
make sure that each child that came into that office, they came in maybe for a band-aid, but man, I had things that I wanted to express to them. I
Right.
had things in the office that showed them that they're powerful. I had affirmations. I
Mhm.
had, if a kid was coming in and maybe they came to take medication, they had about why they were taking that medication, what the medication was, what they were capable of. They also had to do affirmations. I was teaching them every time that I saw them, every time I laid eyes on them. I inspired them. I empowered them. I
Mhm.
told them that they can be anything that they wanted to be. I had them drawing. A couple of times kids came in and they would bite their nails. I mean, sometimes you see adults bite their nails. And so
Mhm.
we wanted to get down to the root cause of what was causing them to bite their
Right.
nails. Was it
Mhm.
nervousness? Was it, and then helping them to channel that, even that kind of,
Mhm.
thing that they're doing into, other ways of maybe writing. They wrote stories, they drew pictures, they told me why biting their nose wasn't healthy. So I really got into every person that I saw and every kid and even adults that came in my office. I wanted them to know that they were amazing. I prayed for them. I, talked to them about nutrition, of course.
Mhm.
So I love the kids, and it's like our responsibility
Right.
into them, because people are out there telling them, oh, like most of the kids that I would see, sometimes they would come in and they had negative things to say to me that they had heard from others,
Right.
that I'm crazy, or I am you know not smart or something like that, or I
Mhm.
can't do that. And I was like quick to say, you can do anything you want to do. You
Mhm.
are smart. You are, that's not what you're supposed to think
Right.
about. So,
Right. You do see it on some movies every here and there. You'll see a teacher will identify a student who is maybe having some trouble with other students,
mm-hmm.
but they seem to demonstrate that they're a leader. And if
Yeah,
that teacher recognizes that this is just leadership, it's just misdirected. So let me go ahead and let them be the line monitor, or let them, you
yeah,
know, clean the chalkboard or whatever, whatever it is.
right,
Um, you gotta really think about it and allow them opportunities like that. Experiences, in my opinion, are the greatest gifts that you
yeah.
can give to a child, particularly
Oh,
experiences, because
yes, that's so true. So true.
I mean, like, you buy them a cell phone, and yeah, a teenager is going to love a cell phone. But what if you took them skiing for a weekend? They're going
Wow.
to remember that for the rest of their lives. They may become a skier. You take them on a cruise. You take them, just to the museum. It doesn't have to be something expensive. But my mom used to take me out different places, and
Wow.
we didn't have a lot of money, but I saw all kinds of museums in LA. We went everywhere in LA.
Wow.
And she used to take my buddy, my best friend, actually, who lives in Florida, um, Coach B.
Oh,
She used to take both of us, and like his mom would work a lot, so my mom would take us different places. And Larry still to this day, you know, um, touts about how uh, happy he was to have those privileges when we went different places. You know.
it's about all about exposure, exposure.
Mhm.
And that's why I really my goal was when I wrote the journal, my published the Get Perfectly Balanced journal, my goal was to write children's books. And I remember one of the guys I was taking some coaching. He was my boxing coach, and training with him. And he said every kid that comes in has a story, and you are able to express that story so that you teach others. And so my original goal was to write a book for children to learn how to, I guess, cope with their eczema or cope with their ADHD. And that was the
Mhm.
one that I was really passionate about, because those teachers that my daughter came around and was exposed to, all they wanted to do was say, oh, she has ADHD, she can't sit down.
Right. Mhm.
Again, the energy. So I was very passionate about educating people about that. And
Right.
so since I did the journal for, it's mainly for adults and teenagers, I really want to inspire the younger kids,
Mhm.
to teach them about focusing on the mental, the spiritual, the physical, even
Mhm.
the intellectual. For them, it would be a little bit different because they're in school, but to find books like you did with your mom, and books
Mhm.
that teach them about other things that they may not be exposed to.
Right.
We do a little bit in school, but school education is different than life. And so
Right.
you have to merge those two. And
Mhm.
you know how we used to have home ec classes?
Right.
Well, okay, now who's teaching the kid about financial wellness?
Mhm.
Who's teaching the kid about social wellness? They do a little bit of social wellness,
Right.
but what about environmental wellness? Like learning their environment, respecting their environment.
Mhm.
Simple things that they should know, but no one's really going over. Like don't keep the water on, turn it off when you
Right.
spit
Exactly.
water.
Basic things like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I call those soft skills. When I
yeah.
was teaching high school,
Mm-hmm.
I had a group that was an internship program, and
Mm-hmm.
so I would teach them how to get a job, how to keep it, how to do well on it. In the Bible it says, work unto your employer as if you're working unto the Lord's. I know that ain't the exact quote, but um,
I like
basically,
what
basically, I would teach them soft skills because the books that we had, they would teach the hard skills. Okay, this is how you write a resume.
mm-hmm.
This is quote unquote interviewing skills, even though we had to tweak those things as well. But like looking somebody in the eye when you go to an interview, giving them a firm handshake, never looking down when you're talking to them.
Right.
The soft skills, and as you just talked about, some of those soft skills that we can start teaching children, because a lot of children don't know this, and it's appalling. Like how to cook yourself a grilled cheese sandwich, how to clean up the kitchen,
Yeah,
how it should look when it's clean. This, show them this is not clean, and
right.
this is clean. So when you clean up, I want it to look like this. But we
Exactly.
don't take that time to do anything, and the kids unknowingly are basically running over their parents and running, without any kind of guidance or without enough guidance. And it takes literally a village. Everybody, the
Takes a village.
teachers, the nurses, the parents, uncles, aunts, everybody has to be pouring in, and being consistent with it.
Exactly. So you said soft skills. I like that term because it's like you are adding to what they're already learning. I mean, their brains are, this is a good time to introduce them to these things. It's a
Right.
good time to introduce them. And so when you're talking about, teaching them the soft skills about the job, also teach them that they have to love their job. The
Mm-hmm.
occupational wellness, that's one of the pillars.
Mm.
Occupational wellness is very important because think about it. We go to our jobs, we're traveling, we're getting prepared for it. So you got to take at least an hour. So
Right.
say we're working 8 hours. So we're going to take an hour to say get dressed, get prepared, think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Go on to that job, work the 8 hours, get a 15 to 30-minute break for some, majority. I had 15 minutes and that didn't I mean, you didn't have time to even take a breath.
Right.
And you go right back. And sometimes I didn't get a chance to do that as a nurse,
Right.
Elementary school, we're busy. Then you have the other hour of traveling back. So say some people would travel to their jobs an hour. It takes them
Right.
an hour to travel. So that's the majority of the day. When do we have time to do anything? If we go to that job, we don't like that job, five times a week,
Mm-hmm.
and then on Sunday we're thinking about it going on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And that most people have heart attacks on that Monday.
Monday. I heard about that. Mm-hmm.
Yes, Les Brown talks about it in his,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a lot of his speeches and a lot of his motivational um, seminars he goes to. He talks about
Right.
most people at 9 o'clock on a Monday morning fall
Right.
dead of a heart attack because they hate their job. I saw it so much. Those teachers would come in, they didn't know. They would have hives out of
Mm-hmm.
nowhere. One lady told me that in the shower, she would, get so nervous that she would throw up. I mean, it's a serious thing.
Right.
You really have to teach people, like, you don't like that job, you have to find out if you can work somewhere else, really work hard on trying to find somewhere that you're going to love, that
Mm.
you feel respected, that you feel like you're giving back. You
Right.
know, some people are like, I know I'm fine. I don't, I don't have to do anything. I'm content, but it has to be challenging.
Right.
It has to be a job where you feel like you're needed.
Mm-hmm.
You give back. You have something to give. Like you
Mm-hmm.
are creative. We're
Right.
supposed to be creating things, not just exist.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good thing to teach your kids. Like when you want a job, even about entrepreneurship.
Right.
Like I tell them, it was so many kids that came in there. I'm like, what kind of work do you do? And they're like, I'm a kid. I don't work. I'm like, there's kids making big time money.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Like, what could you do? And one boy, he was so cute. He said, I have some artwork. I was like, you could sell that artwork. You
Right.
know,
Mm-hmm.
think about it. He's going to start, drawing with the intention of selling this and
Mm-hmm.
then coming to the family gatherings and saying, hey, I got this, piece of art,
Right.
which I like to purchase. Now that's going to inspire him to be an entrepreneur. And as
Right.
he gets that encouragement and as people look at that picture and they're like, oh, this is beautiful. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my God, you did this? Kids love that. You did this? No,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, oh yeah, I did it. I mean, it could look like a stick figure, but that stick
Mm-hmm.
figure to one person could be a Mozart to someone else.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
My brother was an artist, and my oldest brother, and my mother told me that his teacher told her, he's really gifted. At an early age, he could tell that he was gifted. Now, was it that he was really gifted, or was it the inspiration from that teacher, that belief in that teacher that inspired him to grow up
Mm-hmm.
and be an artist and teach art to
Right.
others,
Okay.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And today we have his artwork all over. He's no longer with us, but we have his artwork all over uh, our houses. I put them on our shirts and everything, and
Okay.
people like are awe. And now that he's no longer with us, we're like, wow, he was really talented. He
Mm-hmm.
was more into abstract.
Okay.
Uh, so that's that, that at one picture, you know, that's abstract. You don't know what that artist is thinking, but it's really
Right.
talented. They
Mm-hmm.
put those colors, those shapes. I didn't even know about it until
Right.
now. Like, oh, that was nice, you know?
Okay. Yep. They put a lot into it.
Yeah.
So let's explore these pillars. You want to go
Okay.
down the line and talk
Okay.
about the pillars of being perfectly balanced?
Yes, get perfectly balanced pillars. Now, here's pillars, and bless you. I was holding in the sneeze earlier. I hope when we play this back, you're gonna see this sneeze. I was like, oh God, I don't want to sneeze. It's natural. But okay, so I was introduced to the pillars by I went to a nurse recruiting event, and there was a lady there that spoke on this. Now, all this time in nursing school, I never heard about this, but
Okay.
I was just amazed at these pillars and why we were never taught that. So I'm like, I'm
Mhm.
going out and I'm going to preach this and teach this. So the first one I hear a lot of people talk about is the mind, body, and spirit,
Okay.
that those three things are all connected. Well, I love the fact that there's 8 pillars. So you have the mind, the body, the spirit, the intellectual, occupational, environmental, social, financial, and is that it? One more.
That's eight. That's
Huh?
eight. That was
Oh,
eight.
yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
So all these 8 pillars all have to work together. So
Mhm.
mental, we know we need to be in a right space for our mind.
Mhm.
Everything that we do is what our mental wellness is looking like. So if we're stressed out, that's going to affect our body, it's going to affect our work, it's going to affect our health.
Right.
And so mentally, we have to check in and say, how am I feeling today? It's okay to feel sad sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to be stressed sometimes, but
Right.
chronic is where we get into a problem. Chronic is where we get into the health issues.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be first aware of our mental status.
Right.
We have to understand that we have to unlock some stigmatisms of what that means in our Black communities.
Mm-hmm.
And right now we're in May, so that's mental health wellness uh, awareness month.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we have to understand that some people need help, but physically, if people start moving more, that's the second pillar. People
Right.
start moving more, that helps you with the mental.
Right.
So when people have done studies, they show that if you start exercising, walking, running, that helps with depression
Mm-hmm.
because the hormones are, helping us feel happy.
Right.
Automatic. Like, God put us on earth to be like self-correcting.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Homeostasis. That's a balance. So my book
Mm-hmm.
should be Get Perfectly Homeostasis. Now, but it is a balance in all of our body, mind, body, and spirit. So that body movement, we are made to move. Some people sit and they feel like, okay, I'll do 30 minutes of exercise and then I'll sit for 12 hours. No, you have to get up. You
Right.
have to, stimulate your hormones,
Mm-hmm.
your endorphins to want you to move. And then you have spirit. Of course, we are spiritual beings.
Right.
And we have to check in spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
And spiritual looks different than what some people think. They think about spirituality just being church. No, spirituality is about how you feel about yourself. Like, are
Right.
you a person that's just all about you? Are you a person that connects with the community? Are you a
Right.
person that connects with your environment? Because the environment is spiritual too.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have the mind, body, and spirit, but then intellect. You have to constantly be learning something.
Right.
You cannot think that you know enough. You have to read, read, read.
Right.
You have to either read or listen to a podcast. You got to go and learn another language. You
Crossword puzzles,
right,
Sudoku,
yeah,
coloring. Now a lot of people do the coloring, and that's for stress as well. But they do the coloring, the adult
it's
coloring books,
very
and
therapeutic.
mhm,
Listening to a music, listening to Mozart, um, listening to something that you're not, used to, getting your brain to start, thinking about, okay, what is it that, asking questions like,
right.
why is this happening? What is this trying to teach me? When you ask a question, the universe answers it.
Hmm.
So the intellect, learning more things, expanding the brain. It's a muscle. So we have to understand that. We have to work that out. Then we have the
Exercise it. Yep.
social bonus. We're
Hmm.
social beings.
Right.
We're not meant to be alone.
Hmm.
So how do you know your neighbors? Do
Right.
you do you are you able to have a conversation with a stranger? You
Hmm.
know, when we talk to others, man, that's another endorphin that is released. Because it excites us to know about somebody else. It excites us to, learn about different nationalities, different
Right.
cultures. You know, we don't, you know, live in this world alone. So remember that one movie, Tom Hanks was on the beach and he had the
Yeah.
volleyball.
Hmm.
I mean, who are we talking to? Like, are we
Right.
all alone? Elderly people. You have to reach out to them because some of them are just lonely.
Right.
They just need someone to talk to. And they
Hmm.
pay people to just, call and, or go and visit.
Right.
That's us giving back to our community. So we
Hmm.
have the social, and then we have the environmental is one I love.
Let me
Because
let
when
me
I
pause you for a quick second. So
okay,
just on that piece in terms of talking to people, and you mentioned seniors, um, a suggestion for some people, and I'm not sure how reasonable it is now
mm,
because we just came out of COVID.
yeah,
But if people can make it a point to get to some senior communities and speak to some of the seniors, and they can go inside, of course, with permission, go inside the community
yeah,
rooms and just start a conversation. I used to do that,
I did,
and I mean, they love it. They
yeah,
love it. Sometimes they wouldn't have any family members that visited them. And
hmm,
so when you came, and sometimes they wouldn't even remember that you came before or anything like that, but it's not about that. It's
right.
just about connecting.
It's about connecting.
Hmm.
And some people do so much better. I remember when I was speaking with one of my friends, and she said that her aunt was sick and they had her in the hospital. And she said, I want her to go back to her old place. She's familiar with that. She went back and she did so much better. You take them
Hmm.
out of their environment, you take them out of their socialization. They remember things, they remember, people, they remember situations,
Right.
conversations. So yes, we do have to give back. It's
Hmm.
very rewarding, not to them always, but it's rewarding to us.
Right.
It does help them, but it makes us feel really good to be able to know that we are giving back. So
Right.
whatever you feel like you need, there's a void in, go give, and you'll
Hmm.
replace that in a more natural way, other
Right.
than trying to find it in other like other things that you do. Giving back is the biggest thing that you can do.
Right.
So
And,
that's a,
and we,
oh
we, we get to teach our children to do it at an early age too.
yeah.
We used to always volunteer. They have this Safeway Feast of Sharing was the name of the program. So every Thanksgiving, Safeway, which is one of the grocery stores in the area, they would donate all this food, and students from several different schools would come,
Mm-hmm.
and we would serve. We didn't prepare the food, but we would serve. So I would have my kids, serving. They would have their little aprons on, and some of them would just serve the silverware or the plasticware. Some of them would serve drinks, and and even the social part of it, um, they would go and be like, that table was mean to me, and so, we have an opportunity to have a conversation about that. Maybe they're not used to a young person, or maybe they've had some bad interactions with their own family members or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you're serving them, so serve with a open heart. And
Right.
you have to give them opportunities because kids will be like, "Oh, can we go volunteer and pass out the gloves and the hats for the
Yes.
homeless again?" They want to do stuff like that.
They want to do it. They want to do, and they need to be exposed to that because,
Hmm.
my daughter, she always asks me, Mom, can I help? She's a good cook. So she was like, can I help? She volunteered. She, wants to, give gifts. And that is very, um, good. It makes her feel really good,
Right.
so very positive thing for her. But it's an urge that she wants to do. She's like, I want to get back into that. And
Right.
that's one of the balancing things that we need to think about. Like, if we're just doing stuff for ourselves, but we're not giving back to the community, that is so important. People don't
Hmm.
realize how good it feels, to give back, to
Right.
volunteer time. That's your service. We're here as servers
And purpose.
and
That's
purpose.
that's one of your purposes is to help
Yes,
other people. Yeah.
help other people. So
Hmm.
that's environmental. Oh, I was on the environmental. So my story about the environmental is right before I was publishing my journal and I was getting all my ideas together, I had the opportunity to go to see Oprah Winfrey. She was
Okay.
touring, and it was the 2020. It was her vision tour,
Okay.
and her vision tour was all about the pillars of wellness. And I said, "Ah, hot dog, look at Oprah. Me and
Wow.
Oprah on the same thing. We on the same
Right.
lane,
Hmm.
and she had a journal for us. We purchased the ticket, but it was a journal and it was all the pillars. And she said the most, and I put her quote in my journal. So if you
Okay.
guys see that, Dr. Mo is going to put the link. Well, I don't have the link yet, but you can get in contact with me about that. But I
Mhm.
was just like, how you feel like, oh man, this is confirmation. This is just what I needed. She was
Mhm.
on there, and everything that I did and I thought of, Oprah did it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm getting ready to go on tour, y'all. I'm getting ready to go on tour. I'm gonna do it like
Mhm.
Oprah, and y'all better
Right.
come. And it was a million people at that place in Florida. And
Mhm.
she started off with like a person that came up, and how you say, I have this energy. This girl did the exercise, and then she spoke on the pillars, and she spoke on environmental, and she said, just think about the environment. She said, go out there and look and see the trees, look and
Mhm.
see the ocean or the sky, and know
Mhm.
that something bigger than us put that there.
Right.
Man can't do it.
Right.
Appreciate your environment,
Mhm.
respect it, and get out and walk and clean up, and volunteer to plant trees. Get involved in your environment.
Mhm.
Kids, I see parents show examples, and my dad taught us, don't ever throw nothing out the window. This is your environment. This is
Right.
you keep on littering and things. You can't do that.
Right.
And I mean, it's just, you see people every day drink something, eat something, and throw it out.
Right. I cringe when I see that. It's like, really,
Yeah.
you're an adult and you do that? I mean,
And
you
you
were
show
never taught.
your kids, and they just think that's the trash can. Like, really?
Right.
And it seems small to some people, but it's not.
Right.
Everything small turns into something big,
Mhm.
you know? So
Right.
the environment, especially like the oceans that people are throwing their, trash out there, and our ocean and our fishes and things like that, they're not able to grow and have families and be in the environment, like they safe environment, like they're
Right.
supposed to,
Right.
because it's not clean.
Mhm.
So the environmental wellness, and then we have, of course, financial wellness. you
Mhm.
you're gonna, that's your favorite one.
Right.
But you have
Mhm.
to balance that, because
Right.
in relationships, a lot of people have financial problems, and they can, file for divorce just because they have different views on money.
Right. Mhm. It's
Some
real.
people have stress. You go back to the stress. They have stress and depression because of the money.
Mhm.
There's different ways that you have a purpose and you have a passion, and you have to realize that there's ways that your purpose and passion can get you paid.
Right.
It can't. There's people out here doing it, and then you
Mm-hmm.
have to ask yourself that question. Remember, ask the question, get the answer. Ask yourself that question: what is it that I can do
Mm-hmm.
that will serve someone? Because you need to serve someone,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to find out how you can profit from that,
Mm-hmm.
and go
Overall
into
value.
yeah, and go into it not just thinking about money, but saying you're going to do it. Um, you're going to do something just because you love it, you
Right.
know. And as you love it, then you'll get back, you know.
Right.
So the financial piece is important. Learn
Mm-hmm.
about it. What does your retirement look like? How is your money growing?
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to a guy say that your money in the bank, and my mother will tell you, anytime your money in the bank, it's not making any money.
Right.
You have to find financial ways, you know, you can speak on that.
Right. Well, there are
You're
lots
into
of
that.
different ways. Right. And I was going to just interject. Um, People really need to understand that there's a such thing as a relationship with money, and they have to find out what theirs is.
Yes.
And it's pretty easy. Like, how do you feel about money?
Yeah.
Do you feel like rich people, um, or horrible people because they're rich? Is that what somebody taught you? Do you feel like, I don't need to have a whole lot of stuff because that's just gluttonous?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you feel like, um, uh, a equal exchange of my services should render me equal or substantial amount of pay for that? And if you do understand that, then, like you just said, find out what you do well, what you can do, where you can provide value, and then just, and go with that. Now, sometimes majority of people aren't entrepreneurs. They don't. They don't. I won't say they don't have that spirit, but they won't tap into it because nobody has ever uh, talked to them about it.
Yeah.
Or if they have, they had a bad experience and it was like a one time off, and they just decide, nope, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
I'm just going to work. I'm good. And I have friends like that. It's
Yeah.
I won't say it's sad, but they've worked, and I'm like, well, you can add to your wealth. You don't have to become an entrepreneur, but there's some other things you can do to
Yeah.
add to your wealth, investing and things like that. Um, but again, if people don't understand their relationship with money,
Mm-hmm.
and that there is a such thing as a relationship with money, then
Right.
they're not going to address it.
Right.
So it takes coaches like you to say, hey, what's your relationship with money? Do you have negative thoughts about it? When you grew up, did your parents always say, we can't afford that?
Yeah.
Put that back.
Yeah.
Or were your parents the type of people? Because it could be the opposite too, and that can be damaging. Everything you wanted, you got.
Yeah.
And
Balance.
right,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
And you said that exactly the way you got my journal. You have it
Mhm.
there with you, I'm sure.
I don't have it here because
I started
remember,
to, I, I started to
I'm
say,
out of town.
oh
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
I'm not at home.
And I'm out of town too. And guess what? I sold out, but I am going to order some more for you. Everyone out there that's listening, you get a journal for perfectly $20.
Awesome. Awesome.
but but yeah, so in the journal, that's one of the questions, that's one of the prompts for the financial piece. And it
Hmm.
says, what is your relationship with money?
Right.
And so that's what I thought I was going to say, put the book up. But yes, we'll totally let everybody know how they can get their own
Right.
get personal balance journal. But that is the piece that financial. So my mother, she was amazing with how she um, made her money make money.
Okay.
She worked. She's 94, like I said, but she worked different jobs. She was a seamstress, and she did a lot of work in that area. But she had 10 kids, so she was like, "Wait a minute, I need to get make this money make money. The bank is
Make it
not
fun.
giving me anything in return.
Right.
So what can I do?" Well, she was 22 years old and got a two-family flat. She was married. She got married at 17. My dad was 18. She bought a
Okay.
two-family flat. That two-family flat she lived free, and the person up above her paid the rent.
Right.
That was the start. So like I said, there's
Mhm.
a start. So that was the start. Ever
Mhm.
since then, she's had a piece of property, and a piece of property for a property for a bill, a
Right.
bill
Mhm.
for a bill.
Mhm.
Jamal King, he's on Facebook. He said a building for a bill, and that's what my mother did.
Right.
She did everything. When she bought the property, it paid for, expenses. She never had, anything that she had to pay over, like financing anything. She didn't finance anything. She did her own financing. And
Okay.
she would help others finance things. Like they would pay her like the percentage. Okay, I'll pay your car off, and you give me this amount, And
Okay.
so she didn't like that. And to this day, she still gets um rent from two places. It was three. But to
Okay.
this day, she's sitting pretty. But that building paid for something. And then she
Mhm.
also, one of the places she worked was a purse company, and she was a seamstress for that company. And they
Okay.
told her, you can take the purses home and we'll give it to you at cost and you can resell it. My mother got these ladies coming from church. Miss Walker, I need to get
Mhm.
me a purse. What you got for me this week? What you got
Right.
for me? And I saw that as a kid.
Right.
I'm like, what?
Mhm.
Relationships. You
Absolutely.
fine. She prayed. She said she asked God, show me how to, you know, be financially stable. And she
Mhm.
said there was a commercial on, back in the day when television used to go off,
Right.
before it went off, there was there was a commercial about how you can order a cloth free. It was a prayed for cloth. And my mother ordered that, and she said she prayed for financial freedom. And when she got it, she said she never had to worry again.
Mm.
Yes.
Mm. So you just bring up a good point. Um, Belief. Now that deals with the mindset, but
Yes.
she had belief
Yes.
that she prayed and that God was going to answer her, and He did. And
Yes.
if you don't have that belief, if you don't have that psychological wherewithal to know that, and spiritual wherewithal to know
Yeah.
that I can ask and it's going to be given to me,
Yes.
and I can be assured that it's going to be given to me, then
Exactly.
there's a miss. Hmm.
Wow. That's it. You said it, Dr. Mo. That is it. Because she
Hmm.
did believe. And like I said, even to this day, when she wakes up, she's grateful. And I thank you for your book, because the gratitude book where you write in it has,
Hmm.
and then you express that each day you are thankful for something different.
Right.
Don't repeat
Hmm.
it, even though you can, but
Right.
just to think broader,
Right.
so that's helped me. Thank you for that.
Hmm.
And inspiring people to understand that gratitude, the attitude of gratitude is amazing. It works, it's real. And
Right.
I've seen that people say if gratitude could be a pill, people would be a lot healthier.
Right.
So expressing your gratitude, thinking about your gratitude, writing down. There's something about the pen and paper.
Right.
Don't
Hmm.
say it in your head. Write it down. That pen and paper actually,
Right.
there are studies of how that is so much more effective than just,
Right.
out, So when I was studying for nursing, I had to do so many different things because nursing was like, it was almost like I felt like who was taught how to study for nursing because I felt like, am I the only one? But this is hard.
Right.
And when I didn't believe that I could do it, then I wasn't. I was failing. Chemistry
Mm.
was like, what are they asking me this
Right.
for? I failed chemistry. And then I was like, what do I do? Then when I believed in myself and said that this is what I have to do,
Hmm.
I changed and I passed and I
Hmm.
studied for my board and I got, NCLEX training to teach you how to test for the boards
Right.
and I passed it on the first time.
Okay.
And that is something that is uh, not done all the time.
Right.
Some people have, had to take it twice or three
Hmm.
times. They pass, you're still a registered nurse, but people don't know that stuff is hard.
Right. Right. Sometimes you have to borrow faith.
You have to.
So the fact that there's a ton of nurses,
Hmm.
and so obviously somebody did it before you, so therefore it can be done.
It can be done.
And there's a poem I like. It's called "Somebody Said It Couldn't Be Done." I'm gonna say part of it right now because it's one of
Okay.
my favorites. Somebody said it couldn't be done, but he with a chuckle replied that maybe it couldn't, but he'd be the one who wouldn't say so till he tried. So he buckled in with a trace of a grin on his face. If he worried, he hit it. He started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. Oh, there are thousands who will tell you it cannot be done. There are thousands who will prophesy failure. There are thousands who will tell you one by one the dangers that wait to assail you. Just buckle in with a bit of a grin. Just take off your hat and go to it. Just start to sing as you tackle the thing that couldn't be done, and you'll do it. And there's one more verse, but um, you know,
Wow, I like
you,
that.
if you don't have the faith to do something, but you know somebody else has done it, if you are an entrepreneur or a budding entrepreneur and somebody else has done it, then check out what they did, you know,
Right.
and borrow the faith that what did they do, not just physically do. You don't have to have the same occupation, but
Right.
what was their mental strategy, and what was their psychological strategy, and what was their what were they reading, who were they around, who were they getting coached by. You can
Wow.
borrow some of this stuff and just know that, hey, somebody else has done it. Somebody
Man.
else has done it.
So
Hmm.
when you were saying that, I just was thinking about how many people that can benefit from because um, even with the nurses that are in school now, some of these nurses end up leaving the field altogether
Hmm. I
because
know a lot of nurses.
yeah, they feel like, you know, I can't do this. And I was one of those nurses. And here I am 30 years later, and it has afforded me to inspire and to know that it can be done. But I had to mentally tell myself that because when I
Hmm.
told myself it couldn't, I didn't do it. But when I
Hmm.
told myself I had to, I did it.
Right.
And I said that same thing. I looked at the nurses that were working at the children's hospital and I
Hmm.
said, they did it.
Right.
They did it. I can do it.
Hmm.
I had to learn different. I had to study uh what was my learning, what was the way that I learned. I had to
Right.
investigate and um research. So I
Hmm.
know people say, well, I'm a visual learner.
Right.
I am, auto, by auto I can hear things, I can learn.
Hmm. Right.
I am a physical, like, so I'm like, I gotta do all of it. So
Right.
I bought this cassette tape and it says where there's a will, there's an A. And
Okay.
I listened to that. And I listened to that. But that's the same thing, like you said, for your faith.
Hmm.
Because one of the things that I remember in that book and that cassette is that it said visualize everything that you do,
Hmm.
visualize it from the time you wake up, like for the quizzes, because I used to get so nervous
Right.
that I like have my stomach would hurt and I feel like I gotta go to the restroom. TMI, no. But I would be like, oh my God, I gotta visualize myself, getting up, visualize the feeling, the emotion, visualize taking the test,
Hmm.
visualize getting my grade and passing my grade.
Right.
I had to visualize all that, but I had to do the work too.
Hmm.
But I had to do the visualization. So I believed in myself. I didn't doubt myself anymore.
Right.
I used that cassette tape and I used all of the ways of learning because I didn't really know which one was my best. So
Right.
I had to tape all of my lectures and listen to them while I was driving to the classes.
Hmm.
Then I had to have flashcards to
Right.
look at. Then I had to write, like
Hmm.
different, writing down different things about the body and the cells and all that stuff. And
Right.
then I had to look at, kind of like screens and draw pictures and stuff like that. So I had to
Mhm.
do it all,
Right.
you know, but
But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was just saying, but I'm here. That's what I had to do. You got to try everything.
Right.
It works for you.
But that speaks to the intellectual pillar,
Mm-hmm.
because some people, especially who's in, if somebody is taking a class or learning a new skill, they only take what has been presented to them.
Mm-hmm.
So, like for nursing, you would go straight through the nursing classes and be struggling, but never take the time and get another book or an audio tape or something, because now you're like, that's extra work. I don't
Yeah.
want to have to add extra work. I'm already struggling.
Mm-hmm.
But it's those tools that may just help you. But if you don't take the time to say, okay, well, what else can I do? Because I had a book, like when you said, where there's a will, there's an A. Um, that sounds very familiar from
Mm-hmm.
when I was in college.
Oh wow.
I bought this book because I was not doing well. I was like, uh, people are getting A's. Why can't I? What's
Yeah.
going on? And so I had to get a extra book, read some extra stuff. Even though I wasn't doing well in the class, I was like, I got to read this book. I got to highlight it. I got to bend the pages. I got to figure out what it is that other people have done, at least this author,
Mm-hmm.
that has helped him to get straight A's. Because he was one of those students who, he was like a straight F or straight D student. And then
Whoa.
he pushed himself to become an A student with some certain strategies. And I was like, well, okay, he did it and he's telling me how to do it. Let me get this book and let me read it. But a lot of people will say that's extra work. I'm not going to get it, some more work. I had the opportunity, and we're going to talk about nursing real quick, and then we're going to get off. I
Mm-hmm.
had the opportunity to teach first year law students in a seminar, and not law students, first year medical students at
Oh,
Georgetown University.
oh, good.
Um, and it was as a result of the diagnosis that I had been diagnosed with.
Mm-hmm.
So I was there really so that they can see different things that was going on with my body, and then they can ask me
Oh,
questions. But I
right.
took it as an opportunity to teach, and
Yeah.
the instructor didn't mind. Um, so after they had their answered their questions, I talked about, okay, well, I know that as a medical student, because I did my research too, you guys are not required to take any nutrition classes. And I'm like, to me that makes absolutely no sense.
Man,
Um, but I know that, and this will be a whole nother podcast
I
um,
know, because you like,
about,
I'm like, woo.
yeah, but how that whole thing came about,
Mm-hmm.
how the pharmaceuticals have taken over, because that was something that Rockefeller actually, during his time,
Mm-hmm.
he um, he was running the country pretty much in terms of
Yeah.
businesses, and
Yeah.
he wanted hospitals to make more money, and so he said he would fund medical schools if they only taught to prescribe medicines, because they were part of the pharmaceutical industry, so they were going to make money off of that as well. And
Big
so that's
pharma.
how the whole thing changed, because back before that, people were, and they called it quackery or different things, but people were engaging in both the traditional Western medicine and Eastern type medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then after that, he had such a strong hold financially on those businesses that he was single handedly able to change that and get
Mm-hmm.
those schools to say, okay, we're only going to teach pharmaceuticals. So
Yeah.
most doctors, and most people probably don't know this, most doctors have no clue about nutrition.
Man.
Every here and there, they'll tell you, you can eat an apple or orange, like you mentioned. But aside from that, they're not telling you, let food be thy medicine. Like some people say that was Hippocrates, but that wasn't Hippocrates, actually. That was Imhotep. Thousands of years before that, an African physician who
Oh,
came
I'm
up
glad
with that.
you pointed that out.
Yeah, that's who came up with that. But of course, we give credit to
You,
Hippocrates.
you know they do. You know they
Mhm.
do. And I'm glad you pointed that out, because I in the course that I took, they spoke about Hippocrates, but they never spoke about, you
Right. They're
know,
never going to talk about Imhotep.
right. Like you said, that's another podcast, because I'm passionate about that.
Hmm.
And we didn't learn. We had a little small piece of nutritional information, but mainly pharmaceutical,
Hmm.
pharmaceutical. And the doctors and nurses were the most unhealthiest. That's why I became very passionate about speaking to people about nutrition and balancing their wellness, because as a nurse, we don't teach you that there's other things that may cause this
Mm-hmm.
autoimmune disease. There's other things that may have caused the inflammation. Now we got to get to the root cause of the
Right.
problem and stop putting the band-aid on it, which is
Mm-hmm.
the medicine. Mm, mm, mm.
Right. Right. And so I have a quick story, and then we're going to close out. So I have a very high appreciation for nurses. Um, in 2016,
Mhm,
um, I had to go to the hospital, and I was actually in the hospital for 2 months straight,
mhm.
from December 2016 until February 2017.
Great. Wow.
And the first month, I was in ICU that whole month,
Mhm.
and the nurses took the best care of me and really poured into me emotionally, spiritually. I even had the opportunity to um, introduce some of them to Christ while I was there. Some of them would say, "Well," but
Wow.
I asked every nurse that came in there, every doctor that came in there. I asked them, and I don't think any of the doctors um, accepted my invitation, but several nurses did. I think eight of them.
Blessing.
Um,
God.
but the nurses, they really, really poured into me. And I mean,
Mhm.
I had such a great relationship. So after I had left there, like for months, I would go back to that hospital and just visit
Wow.
they would let me in the ICU.
Oh
Even though
my.
I ain't supposed to be in there, they would let me in there to
Right.
cry, and we took a picture and it's on the wall in there. And, you know,
Oh, that's a blessing.
so I have a very high appreciation for nurses because um, the doctors, you don't even see them that much. They come
Yep.
in, the nurses prepare everything, tell you everything, and then tell the doctor the one or two things they need to hear. They're in there
Yep.
for 5 minutes and then they're gone. But it's the nurses who are cleaning you up, who are bathing you, who are feeding you, who are, encouraging you, all that. And
Yes.
so, I honor nurses, and I wanted to just let you know, I honor you as a nurse
Well,
as well.
thank you so much. I
Mhm.
appreciate that. And that's a beautiful story of you, bringing them to Christ and, creating a relationship. And like you said, we need it. Everyone needs it. And that's the purpose. We never know where God puts us, but wherever he puts us, we have to be servers and we have to introduce people to him. There's so many people, we're at the same church. There's so many people that I brought to the church because um, they needed something else to balance out their life. And
Right.
that piece was missing. So thank you for doing that. And in your time of need, you were giving back. And that's what
Mhm.
it's all about.
Absolutely. So, how can we find you? I have it on the bottom, but you want to tell us how to find you, how to possibly get the book, and all of that.
Yeah, so you know what else do I also have Teespring, where I have some of my t-shirts. So I was just thinking about that
Okay.
first.
Okay.
Um,
So you have
so
the link to that. I can put that up if you want.
yeah, I gotta send that to you.
Okay.
I'll send it to you. But the Teespring, I just came up with other ways of, helping people. And my passion, I would wake up in the morning and be like, oh, I want this on a t-shirt. So I was like, let me put it on Teespring. So I
I
got
bought
the
one of your T-shirts for one of my nurse
You
friends.
did. I know. I was gonna say
Hmm.
for the nurses. Nurses are dope.
Hmm.
That's what you got, and I appreciate that
Hmm.
so much because she put it on and I put it on my Facebook. I mean Instagram. But
Okay.
for Facebook it's just Sheila Cunningham, my name, and for
Okay.
Instagram it is Sheila.Cunningham.sc for Instagram. Also on Facebook you might see. Oh, I have a YouTube too for Sheila Cunningham too. So I'm like
Right.
YouTube, Instagram, Facebook.
So you
I'll
said
put
for Facebook is just Sheila Cunningham.
yes, yes, it is. And so for the t-shirts, I'll put up that. Like I said, I have the journal. I'll let you know. You can just reach me for the journals. And what else do I have? Oh, I do have some journals. Some easy, just writing journals on you not YouTube, but Amazon. So I'll
Okay.
see how I send that to you. Technology. I have to get with technology like you, Dr. Mo.
Let me put. So
This
I have IG. It's
getting
pretty
all
cool.
right.
I have IG at Sheila.Cunningham.sc, and then Facebook I just have at Sheila Cunningham. And then you said YouTube, just your name also.
Yep, just my name.
I'm gonna
See some
put this so
boxes.
everybody can get that. And tell us about your relationship with um
Boxing?
yeah, what's his name? The different gyms that you go, or the gym that you
Oh,
particularly go
Mayweather.
to? Yeah,
Mayweather.
Mayweather.
Yeah,
Yes.
Mayweather. So I've been in the boxing world for a long time. My brother boxed for Golden Gloves. He was Golden Glove champion. He's in the he's been recognized in St. Louis, as
Okay.
a boxer. So he's gotten recognition because he was like always going to compete. And so we've always seen boxers, my family has. So I always was in love with it. It's good cardio, it's good workout. So let me know if you guys need some boxing, workout. And then my husband boxed in the army. And when
Okay.
he police department, he got a youth team together. And the youth that he trained and a lot of his professional fighters, they um, began to fight, nationally on
Hmm.
television and everything. And so Mayweather has been around him and they have a relationship and everything. But when the gym came to West Palm Beach, I just love the whole, you know, floor plan, the exercise. And I was like, I want to be, working out there. Now, my husband has a gym, but he trains professional. Of course, the people that I want to hang out with and the people that I want to train, they're not professional. So you can come to Mayweather. That's where I come and work out. There's a youth program called Gloves of Greatness that I run and help run, I should say, not run, but giving back to the community again. So if you want to donate to that group or you want to be a part of, giving back to the community, join me for that. And it's in Boynton Beach, Mayweather. If you want a free class, hit me up for that too.
Do you have any classes online? Like if somebody wanted to just start training boxing, and can they get a master class or
We
several?
working on that.
Okay.
There's a girl that I'm connected with, so I'm working on that also. So that's in the works. We'll see how we can get that together.
Okay.
But if they want to get an online, like a session in, they can hit me up for that too.
Okay.
Be
Awesome.
their own 101.
All right. So with that, we're going to close out. So again, you all can reach Sheila on IG, Sheila.Cunningham.sc, or Facebook, just Sheila Cunningham, and YouTube also Sheila Cunningham. So definitely um, subscribe to her page on YouTube, like it, share it, because this is good information. And like I said, her energy is infectious. So you definitely want to, even just from the video, you want to get involved so that if your day is not going so well, pop on one of her YouTube videos and maybe
Oh,
that's going to flip the switch for you.
oh, thank you. I
So you go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I was going to say, you have any closing?
Oh, I just want to say to everyone that I appreciate you taking out the time to listen to us. Dr. Moa has been inspiring people and connecting people in this great platform. I am so grateful to be a part of it and keep doing what you do. And you out there, keep doing what you do and keep your head up and know that you are amazing. And I
Absolutely.
absolutely love you.
Awesome. Awesome. And as I always close out, your thoughts are your truth. So with that, we're going to close out. Make sure you follow her. And also, if you go right below here, you see the share button, you see the um, like button, and you see the subscribe. Please subscribe. We have some fantastic shows coming up, so you definitely want to be plugged in. So with that, Sheila, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. I love you.
I love
Have
you too.
continued safety out there at home, and we'll see you back in Florida when you get back and when I get back. So,
All right. Well,
yeah.
well done. Thank you so much.
All right, awesome.
Bye bye.